What's going on YouTube? Examples TCG here coming at you with a brand new deck profile. Today I'm going to be profiling my Noble Knight deck. It is a deck I currently run alongside my Fire Kings. As I said in my previous videos, I don't really play too many meta decks unless I'm going to a tournament that's worthwhile playing a meta deck. So in the future you might see a few meta deck profiles on my particular channel, but right now I don't actually play any real meta decks, so to speak. One thing I will say is I am looking to try and upload more content to this channel on a more regular basis, because at the moment it's kind of sporadic, I guess you could say. I bring you guys like some openings like back to back, or like one day on, one day off even. And then like you don't hear from me for like a week, and then I come with a deck profile, and then you don't hear from me for another week, and then I come back at you with another deck profile. So I'm going to try and be a little bit more consistent with the uploads to my channel. Main reason I'm not really too consistent at the moment is I kind of end up opening all my stuff in one day, but I don't end up making the videos like last a week before like uploading more, I guess you could say. So I kind of need to work on the schedule of uploading videos at a consistent rate. Also, I am in the process of making my own trading card game, as you guys might be aware. So I'm hoping that I can start bringing you guys content for that particular card game as well. I may end up doing that card game on a separate channel, but if I do, I'll let you guys know. But the first video might be on this channel, and then I might say, right, okay, everything else will be over on a second channel, because I have made a channel ready for that card game just in case I decide to upload to a different channel. But that is pretty much the update on the progress, guys, so let's get on with the video. So as I said, I'm profiling my Noble Knights. I haven't played with this particular deck in a long time, so I'm probably end up making this video a little shorter than the Fire King deck profile. However, this particular deck is one of my favourite decks alongside the Fire Kings to play. Obviously, I try and make each deck work in the current like ban format, even if it's not really meta, because as I said, I don't really play any meta decks. But let's get on with it. Let's get into the profile. So I run the 3 copies of Merlin. He's pretty much your sole dark in the deck, apart from one other card, I believe. But he is a very good card for this particular deck, hence why I run 3 copies of him. I don't see anyone really running less than 3. If you run 2, I feel like the deck's a little bit too inconsistent if you run 2. So 3 copies of Merlin to start off the deck. I then play 3 copies of Middraw. That's the only other card I play 3 copies of in the monster format. Best Noble Knight in the deck by far, in my personal opinion. I then also play 2 copies of Drystan alongside him. Basically, these are, in my opinion, some of the best cards in the deck. The most powerful in terms of attack, but obviously their effects are very handy as well. So I run 3 and 2 with regards to those guys right there. As I said, I don't run any 3-ofs apart from the Merlin and the Middraw. Everything else is 2 or single copies in the monster format. So I run 2 copies of Gawain, 2 copies of Bedwyr, and also 2 copies of Boars as well. That's pretty much like your main engine, I guess you could say, alongside the 3 and 2, alongside the Drystan and also the Middraws. With regards to the Gawain, he can be obviously special summoned when you have another Noble Knight on your side of the field. He gets special summoned in defense, and then you can obviously overlay into an Exceed if you wish. If you have a tuner on the board, you can also go into a synchro. I don't run too many synchros in my extra deck. I'll get to that in a minute. Don't run too many synchros, but if you wish to go into a synchro, the opportunity is there. So I run 2 copies of each of those cards that I've just gone through. If I can actually pick them up and move them out of the way, that'd be great. There we go. So that's that. I run a single copy of the Ignoble Knight, as well as Noble Knight Brothers and Gualchevard. I don't really see any need to run any more than a single copy of these 3 cards here at this moment in time. When I start playtesting a little bit more and I actually start going to my locals, so I've only really just got back into playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously I can playtest a little bit more and see whether I need like a 2 copy of Brothers, for example, or 2 copy of Gualchevard, or take him out for another copy of Brothers, or even have another copy of Ignoble Knight in the deck. But at the moment, or in the past even, 1 copy of each of those worked fairly well. So that's it for the actual Noble Knight cards, the actual Noble Knight cards for the monsters anyway. But we do run 2 copies of Queen of Noble Arms, as well as Lady of the Lakes, 2 copies of her. one copy of Effect Vader, a single copy of Honest, and also a Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. Obviously your Effect Vader and your Honest are both the hand traps for the deck. Effect Vader worked really well when I played this deck last, hence why I've kept her in there. Honest is just really good because most of your deck is a light based card. They're light based monsters even, so Honest comes in really well with that. Blackluster Soldier, I don't really end up using that too much. He is there just in case. Obviously you've got your Noble Knight in the graveyard alongside one of your Noble Knight monsters, or if you have Merlin in there as well. So he doesn't really see too much play, but he is one of the cards that people don't really expect to see in a Noble Knight deck from like playtesting or playing the deck in the past. So that is it for the monster lineup. Pretty self-explanatory monster lineup in my personal opinion. Yes, okay, Effect Vader, Honest, and Blackluster Soldier, I guess you could argue aren't really like staples for the deck, but everything else I feel like, in my personal opinion, you have to run in the deck. As I said, the Noble Knights you could probably switch in and out. You can run more copies of certain monsters, but that is my personal favourite and personal opinion on the particular monster lineup. So let's go into the spells. I run only one trap in the deck, so I guess I could show you that particular trap in the form of Solemn Warning. It's the sole trap in the deck. I don't see the need to run any other traps considering the monster lineup and the spell lineup, so I do run a one copy of Solemn Warning. As I said, only trap card in the deck. But onto the spells, we play 2 copies of Last Chapter of Noble Knights, 2 copies of Destiny, 2 copies of Caliburn, 2 copies of Excalibur, 1 copy of Gatlin, and 1 copy of Afendria, I guess is how you pronounce. So obviously, apart from the Last Chapter, these are all of the equip spells for the deck. Each one has its its uses for certain monsters and certain situations. I only feel like I need to play 1 copy of Gatlin and 1 copy of this card, just because they're the cards I don't really use too much when I see them, but they're there just in case I need them. Everything else, the 2 copies of the Excalibur and the Caliburn and also the Destiny are quite handy if I'm honest, and then obviously the Last Chapter is pretty much a staple card. In the past I did end up running 2 Last Chapters in the deck, but just for consistency purposes I took one out and I added in the this guy right here, the Fendra, or however you pronounce it. I added in him because in the past I have needed him, but sometimes I don't, but 90% of the time I do. So I decided to take out 1 Last Chapter for that particular card there. I run the 1 copy of Soul Charge, 2 copies of MST, 1 copy of Dark Hole, 1 copy of Reinforcement, which is obviously really good in this deck, and a Foolish Burial as well. Obviously Reinforcement can pretty much search most of your deck, which is why I do run the sole copy of that. If I could run more, I would. Unfortunately I can't, so I don't. But obviously really good card for this particular deck. Dark Hole can get you out of some sticky situations, and Foolish Burial can help you get into plays. The other 3 cards are pretty self-explanatory with regards to the spell lineup. So that's it for the main deck. As I said, I only run the 1 trap card, which is the Solemn Warning. I did contemplate putting in another trap card alongside Solemn. I can't remember what one it was, but at the end even, I decided, no, you know what, only 1 copy of Solemn's really needed, and I don't really need to use too many traps in the deck, if I'm perfectly honest. So moving on to the extra deck, I run the 3 copies of Sacred Noble Knight King of whatever, Artaragus, I think is how you pronounce that. I run 3 copies of him. I run the other Artaragus, and I run 3 copies of him as well. Pretty much the best cards for the extra deck, hence why I run 3 and 3. I tend to go into these a lot more than I go into the other cards I have in my extra deck, but I do have obviously other cards in the extra deck just in case the need arises. But these 6 cards are probably the best cards to go into, depending on the situation obviously, but I run 3 copies of each. Just find it a little bit more stable to run 3 copies of each than 3 and 2 or 2 and 2, etc, etc. So I do run 3 copies of each. So the rest of my exceeds are Castal, Abyss Dweller, Dark Rebellion, Exceed Dragon, Leviair, number 20 Giga Brilliant, and also a Leviathan Dragon. There is actually a single spot left, which is this empty sleeve right here. For the extra deck, I don't know what to put into it, so if you guys have any recommendations, that's what I was looking for, by all means leave them in the comment section below. That goes for all of the deck as well, but that is the Exceed lineup that I run for the deck. And I do run two synchros in the form of Colossal Fighter, and also, I can't read his name because of the glare, Ignoble Knight of High Lonselin, I think is how I pronounce that. So I run two synchros. As I said earlier, I don't really synchro summon too much, but Colossal Fighter is obviously really good due to the fact that it has it has cohesion with the warriors that you have in your graveyard, and then the Ignoble Knight is there just because I felt like running one of them. Don't really go into him too much, but he's there if I need him. So that's pretty much it for the deck profile today, guys. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like, rating, and subscribe to the channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon, and also my trading card game as well. I'm hoping to upload a trading card, my trading card game first video for that fairly soon. I kind of want to give you guys an introduction to the game and what I've done so far for it, so hopefully you'll see that in the near future. But nevertheless, guys, that is it for today's video. If you do enjoy Destiny, the game that is, please be sure to go and check out my gaming channel, which I'll leave a link to in the description down below as always. If you've got any recommendations on how I can make this deck better, what I should take out, what I should put in, please leave it in the comment section down below. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.